Okay.
So I want to welcome everyone to Fly Female Founders on the Fly workshop. I am Nancy Russo, joined by one of my co-leaders, Carol. We might have some other people dropping in. For those new to Fly Female Founders, we're an educational nonprofit focused on helping women build successful micro businesses centered around inspiration, education, and connection. We were founded in 2015 and now have a 1,000 person and growing community of small business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, consultants, freelancers, and side hustlers from a broad range of industry sectors who are primarily based in New York City. Upcoming events, we have October 14th, a breakfast, entrepreneurial brand building with Julia Beardwood on 7 things entrepreneurial brands do differently to blow the big guys away. On October 20th, we have another On the Fly workshop, Grow Your Business Online Fast with Tracy Gold. And then on November 10th, we have another On the Fly workshop, Social Media Advertising with Laura Cheek of Experience It, Scaling Your Business Through Social Media. I'm excited to introduce the effervescent Meg Casebolt, who got me the NFL as a client by a few of the little things that I listened to the first time I heard her and went and changed them, and then they contacted me. Meg is an SEO specialist, a digital strategist, and founder of Love FirstSearch. She helps female entrepreneurs succeed online by showing them how to get found on Google and turning readers into customers, all by using custom strategies that fit them better than the Catwoman suit without the wedgie. Meg's clients are the everyday superheroes who are too busy saving their corner of the world to worry about things like website conversion rates and search traffic, even though they desperately need rescuing. It's true, even heroes need to be saved sometimes, especially from the clutches of a crappy website that nobody's finding anyway. Meg geeks out on finding ways to make growing your online presence simpler and more effective with a website that showcases your superpowers and a search strategy that helps you get found by the people who need you most. You'll be invincible. Meg has a lot of ongoing programs as well, which I love to participate in, and I'm sure you'll hear all about that. So take it away, Meg.
Actually, no, I have no pitch at the end of this. We're just leaving it all open. So thank you so much for the introduction, Nancy. Thank you for having me, Nancy and Carol. I use that example of Nancy getting the lead within like days of making those updates, because people always say to me like, oh, SEO takes too long. And I'm like, well, it doesn't have to. Nancy hadn't even given me a dime. She just took the information from a workshop that I did, made some changes on your website, and within a week you had that NFL calling on you. We can't guarantee those results, but like it happens, right? We have proof. All right, so my plan of attack today is to do a presentation, a training to get the essentials of SEO into your brands, and then open the floor and you guys can share your websites. I know a couple of you have already put them into the chat box. I'll ask for them a little bit later as volunteers. So that way you guys can kind of give that consent and say, yes, give me this feedback. So that's sort of the plan here, is half training and then half live feedback, because theory's cool, but if you don't know how to implement it or where everything goes, it doesn't really help.
That sounds
great. All right, let me share my screen. We are here. Today is my 8th anniversary. So I always, like Nancy asked me the date, I'm like, we're not doing anything. What are we doing at noon? I am Meg Casebolt. I'm an SEO specialist. And Nancy already read you my bio, but some things that you may want to know about me is I freaking love karaoke. And I have 2 little boys. They are 6 and 4. The 6-year-old would say, no, I'm almost 7. I am a search engine optimization specialist. So I wanted to start by defining that. Hopefully this will be the most boring slide of the presentation. WTF is SEO anyway. So I wanted to get a definition that we all can agree upon. Search engine optimization, the practice of increasing the quantity and the quality of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. Hold on a sec, let me just open up my notes on the other window. So when I highlighted two things here, which are quantity and quality. So this is not just let me get 1 million hits to your website and have it be the wrong people. For most of us that are business owners, we don't necessarily care about more, we care about better. So this isn't people, usually I have some people who will run display ads on their websites and just need to have lots of eyeballs hit it. But for the most part, we're talking about getting the right people to your website. I also highlighted organic search engine results. So let's define what a search engine is. If you guys want to pop it in the chat box or unmute yourselves and just say, what are some search engines that you know of? I have a hint in the title of this presentation. Okay, here we go. Google. Yes, Google. Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo. These are some of the big ones. Firefox, not a search engine, it's a browser. So you can use Firefox to open up Google or Chrome or Safari. Those are all browsers. Let's also talk about YouTube. YouTube, it's the second biggest search engine on the planet. It is owned by Google. So when you create video content, you can show up in YouTube results. Let's talk about iTunes. If you have a podcast and people are looking for that, you can put your keywords into specific places on the podcast listing and be found by people in iTunes or Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, whatever those podcast search engines are. Pinterest. Pinterest is a visual search engine. Creative Market is a marketplace. Amazon is a search engine. eBay is a search engine. Even the audio search engine that I have next to me, whose name I'm not going to say because then she's going to start talking back to me. Those are search engines. That's voice search. So I want you to think outside of just like, yeah, I'm on Google. Now, there's a lot more to SEO than just Google, although Google is the largest search engine and it is synonymous with search. You know, you don't just say I searched for it, you say I Googled it. So I'm going to use Google to sort of be shorthand for any of these things. So there are basically 4 separate areas of search engine optimization, 4 different tactics that you can take to get your website to show up in those search results on Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo or Ecosia or any of those. The first one, let me pull up my little highlighter here, is content. These are the words on your website. This is the information that you're putting onto your website about what it is that you do. Most of this presentation will be on content strategy and the ways that we can figure out what people are looking for and then use that on our website so that Google knows that's what we're talking about. People can find us. Another piece of it is authority. So SEO can be a little bit of a popularity contest where people are talking about other people, and the more links you have pointing to your website, they kind of work like endorsements or votes, where the more links you have coming into your website from high authority places, the more likely you are to show up in those search results. Another piece of this is technical SEO, making sure that your website looks really good on mobile devices. Google looks at the mobile version of your website before it looks at the desktop version. So if you can't scroll on it, if you have too many PDFs that don't scroll, you know, you're gonna get some points dinged from you. You also want to make sure that your site loads quickly. If people are coming from Google, you want your site to load within ideally 3 seconds, 5 is okay, but no one's going to wait around for 10 or 20 seconds for your site to load. Also want to make sure that your site is secure so Google's not sending people to a place that is hacked. And then for some of us, but not all of us, we also have this piece of local SEO. So I know a lot of us are in a lot of you are in the New York City area. I'm all the way upstate in South Canada, up in Rochester. But when you have things that people can come to see you in person for, you also want to be thinking about local SEO. So she just popped off my screen. But the person who is a realtor in Brooklyn, like you can't show houses, you can show houses in Brooklyn from, you know, couples in California, but chances are you're going to want to be found by people in Brooklyn for Brooklyn residences, right? So some of us can be online, we can work with people all over the world, but some of us really want to have those services and products that are showing up for people that live near us. And that's really important. So I like to think of local SEO as if you want people to find you on Google Maps, then you may want to consider SEO. Hi, Erica. I'm like, you weren't showing up on my name, but I know which one you are. So that's Erica that we were just talking about there. So what does Google want to share about us? Google wants to share results that are relevant to what people are searching for and will give people the best experience. So what do you need to do is you need to figure out what you want to be known for and what your clients are searching for, and kind of find this sweet spot of not trying to build a brand new idea for yourself. Nancy wants to be found for graphic designer in New York City, right? Because people are searching for graphic designer. They're looking for them local to them. She doesn't want to be, you know, she might call herself something like annual report diva, right? Like, but nobody knows to look for that. So we have to find this great overlap of what people think they need and what offers you can give them. So how do we know what people are searching for? It is a process called keyword research. I don't want you to think, oh my God, I don't want to look at a spreadsheet, because it doesn't have to be in a spreadsheet. There are a lot of keyword research tools that can help us understand this in a visual, contextual way. But basically what we're doing here is we're trying to figure out what is the thing that your ideal client is going to Google to look for. A keyword is anything that they type into the Google search box. It does not have to be a word. Some people will call this a key phrase. Some places will call it a query or a search query. It's all the same idea. What is the thing that people type into Google? And their ideas, their topics, their questions. As you're going through your own searches, or maybe go back and look at your search history, and you can see kind of the snippets of ideas that people will bring into their Google questions. So how exactly do we find these keywords? Let's go to the source. Let's go to Google. Let's look at a Google search engine results page. So I am glad I have a couple of graphic designers, because that was my example for many of these tool research pieces. So this is the Google search results page for the phrase graphic design. Let's talk about what's on this page, what information we can gather when we look at a Google search engine results page. So this right here, this part is called the featured snippet. It is when someone asks a question that has a solid answer or has an easy way for Google to share that information right there on the search engine results page, like a definition, a location, an age, you know, something with a definitive quick answer. It will go into the featured snippet. People got all up in arms when this came out a couple of years ago, because they were like, oh, no one's going to click on my website. But actually people who get the websites that get the featured snippets do get a lot of click-throughs. So if you see a featured snippet on the page that you are thinking that you would like to show up in, write a very specific, clear answer. The question is, what is graphic design? And the answer is graphic design is. It just pulls information from the page. What else is on the search engine results page? People also ask is a section where you can get ideas for when people are looking for a term like graphic design, what else do they ask? Google will tell us that. They will say, when people are looking for graphic design, here are the other things that they're curious about. Do graphic designers get paid well? Is it a good career? What does a graphic designer do? Right? These are people who are often thinking about becoming a graphic designer. They're thinking about it as a career if they're searching for it. We'll talk a little bit more about search intent in a minute, but they're thinking about, do I want to pursue a career in graphic design? Do I want to go to school for graphic design? How much does a graphic designer get paid? These aren't necessarily people who are looking to hire a graphic designer. I'm going to move my mic closer. They're looking for information about the fields potentially. We also have this right here, which is like a mini Google map. It's called the local pack or the local 3-pack. It's the map that shows up on the search engine results page with the top results. This is really important for local businesses. So you guys can see I'm in Rochester, New York. Here are the graphic design firms near me. It's based on the proximity to where I live. If any of you were to type this in your Google local would look different based on where you are located. If you're willing to share your IP address with Google, then you're probably not going to get the ones in Rochester. You're going to get the ones in Westport, Connecticut, right? So this will shift around based on where your user is, not just what is on a map. What else is on here? Finally, we get to the organic search results, which are what are the websites that are ranking #1. So you can see here, this is like a art school. What is graphic design? A beginner's guide to this creative profession. And then the Wikipedia page. It's a pretty tough nut to crack here to show up #1 for graphic design, because it's like Wikipedia is not even showing up #1 here, right? It's kind of a big deal. We have videos on the page. So this is where YouTube can come into play. Like I said, YouTube is owned by Google. So if you want to show up on the search results page, but you don't have as much much content on your website as Wikipedia, maybe you can make a video and show up in the video feed. Or maybe you already show up in the feed and you also want to show up in the videos, and that gives you a little bit more authority too, because more people are seeing you show up in multiple places. And some people like videos and some don't. I know Carol and I were like, no, let us read everything. I don't want to watch a video, but lots of people like to watch videos. The last thing on the page all the way down at the bottom is the related searches. And this can give you an idea of what are the other things that people are looking for. Graphic design salary. Those are people who are looking at whether or not they want to become a graphic designer. Same with graphic design courses, graphic design jobs. But then we also see graphic design website. That might be somebody looking for somebody to do the design of their website. Graphic design services, graphic design examples. Those aren't people who are looking to become graphic designers. Those are people looking to hire them. So knowing that there are little modifiers that you can find on these pages, and maybe on your website, instead of saying, I do graphic design, you say, I offer graphic design services, right? You want to be clear about what people might be looking for if they want you. So we can look at the Google page, we can see all these different pieces happening, but it's kind of hard to know how many people are looking for this. So there's a tool that I love that is super cheap. It is $10 for a year. It's called Keywords Everywhere. And it is a plugin that you can use on Firefox or Chrome, and you turn it on and it will take your regular Google page and turn it into looking like this. So it has all this extra information on the side. Let's take a look at what these extra panels are on here. It will tell you if you want to show up in SEO for this, it's a very difficult keyword. This is a pretty tough keyword to crack. So we're going to look at some other options in a minute. How many people are looking for graphic design? Bad news, y'all. Graphic design is down in the last 15 years. This pulls right from Google Trends, which we can look at a little bit closer in just a little bit, but you can get an idea for whether more or fewer people are looking for this information over time. And sometimes it spikes around a lot. Sometimes you can see things that are seasonal. People aren't looking for Halloween costumes in May, they're looking for them in September or October. So you can also see kind of how people are behaving. And then instead of just saying, yeah, people are looking for courses and jobs and salaries and software, we already know that from the page, but this tells us how many people are looking for these. 90,000 people on a month on average are looking for graphic design courses. If you were teaching people how to do graphic design, this would be a really great one for you. 74,000 people are looking for graphic design jobs. If Nancy was looking to hire somebody, that would be a good thing for her to show up for, right? Like knowing that you can have different pages on your site that can rank for these different terms. Doesn't have to be one thing that your entire website ranks for. If you have a course, that can go to your course page. If you have jobs, that can go to your jobs page. If you have services, that can go to your services page. So you can kind of map out these different keywords to different locations. What's this other stuff? Cost per click. This is if somebody is running Google ads on this search engine results page, how much are they paying for every click? And then competition is how many people are running Google ads. So it's relevant to the idea of search engine optimization, which is free. We don't need to run ads. We don't need to pay for it, because then we can get an idea of how much competition we're going to see on that search engine results page. For the term graphic design, we saw how low those organic search results were showing up because there were ads above it. So even if you show up first, you still might not get the click. You can also see the trends. So graphic design as a whole is going down, but a lot of these keywords specifically are going up over time. So you can kind of get an idea for what's happening in these keywords. If you're not sure what you want to look for, if you're not sure where to start, I have another tool that I recommend. This is called answerthepublic.com. This lets you do up to 3 searches a day, and it will take the query that you put in, the initial term that you type in, and then it'll go through and figure out any questions, prepositions, comparisons, or alphabetical search terms for that term. So if we play with graphic design again, here's our questions. Are graphic designs and jobs in demand? Are graphic design classes hard? Are graphic design services taxable in New York? They all start with R. When did graphic design become popular? What is trending in graphic design? Graphic design for. So if you're thinking, oh, I kind of want to figure out what my people are searching for, and not just, graphic design in general, but graphic design for social media, graphic design for print, graphic design for kids, right? Like, what are those specific audiences or outcomes or locations that people are looking for? Sometimes people are looking for differentiators, graphic design versus UX or product design or web design or illustration. They want to know the difference between these because they're not totally sure about the difference between graphic design and digital design. Graphic design with no experience, with Canva, with PowerPoint, and then alphabetically, graphic design for beginners, graphic design freelance, graphic design fundamentals. Another tool you might like is called Ubersuggest. This also has a free version that lets you do up to 3 searches a day. So here you can get the same information of how many people are searching for this term, how many people are advertising on it. And then it also has this really helpful color-coded column over here, which is how easy would it be to rank for this term? You can see graphic design, that one's tough. But what graphic design is, that's a 12 out of 100. That one would be much easier. Same with what's graphic design. Another one might be graphic design free software. That one's pretty simple. So you can kind of get an idea of the scale of what is worth pursuing in this list. But we're seeing on here that sometimes people will say graphic design, but they're looking for graphic design courses. They're not looking for services, or they're looking for jobs. They're not looking to hire somebody. So let's try to figure out if there's a better thing that we can look for as opposed to just saying the industry as a whole. And that's called search intent. That's trying to figure out what is the thing that people want when they're going to search for something. So we saw this in our keywords for graphic design, but it's not quite people who are looking to hire a graphic designer. So I Googled graphic design for business. And we have free logo or graphic design for business logo. That was what I looked for because it was one of the other terms down here. So then we have free logo design. Logo maker free, Fiverr logo. Okay, we don't want any of these, but maybe best logo design company. That might be something that we want to put on your website and say, we're the best logo design company in Connecticut. And then I just clicked on that and it told me what are the other things people are looking for. Professional logo design for small businesses. Logo design for startups. These are getting smaller in volume. There are fewer people looking for professional logo design than there are people who want the free ones. Okay, that's cool. But we know that those people are a bit more serious. We know that their intent is that they want to hire somebody. They don't want to learn to DIY it. They want to invest. They aren't looking for free. This is what that differentiator I mentioned at the beginning about more traffic versus better traffic. Sure, you can get traffic if you make free logo design templates. You can have tons of traffic. And if you're getting your money from Google AdSense, where they're plunking display ads onto your website, then you can make a good living on that. But if you want to be hired to do the professional logo design, you don't need to have 27,000 people a month. You probably don't even need to have 6,600 people a month. That would be too many people. You can't serve all of them. Maybe we need to have 100 of those people a month find us. We need to have 10 of them fill out your contact form. We need to have 2 of them become clients. So this doesn't have to be a matter of volume. It's about relevance. It's about getting the right people to your website. We don't need the biggest term. Now, if you're not sure exactly which term people are looking for, I couldn't come up with enough synonyms for graphic design, so I'm going to switch here. We're going to look at Google Trends. Google Trends is an amazing tool for comparing how people are searching different terms over a length of time. So this is, I was doing this for a health coach. We also looked up weight loss coach, nutritionist, and dietitian. And so you can see blue. Sure, there are people looking for health coaches, but more people looking for dietitians and fewer people looking for a weight loss coach. And you kind of can see when people think they need some sort of support, what are the things that they are looking for? Nutritionist, that's what they want. And if you're a dietitian, then you might want to say I'm a dietitian and a nutritionist, because dietitians can be both, but you can't be a nutritionist and call yourself a dietitian. So knowing what these rules are, knowing what people might think they want, what you say you are might not be what people think they want, right? They may not know they need you. They might just think they need just they need to lose weight. They don't know that they need a nutritionist or a dietitian. They just need a new website. They don't know that they need to have somebody who knows Squarespace. So knowing what your people think they need is just as important as it's just as important in finding the right keywords as knowing what you call yourself. Now, Google Trends will go into even more detail about where are these people who are searching for this. I know we're an US based organization, so I put the US version in here, but this can go, global, and you can break it down to a city level. So you could even zoom into the, the region of New York City, the tri-state area, and it will tell you county by county who is looking for each of these terms. So especially those of you that are running those local pieces, are people looking for Brooklyn brownstones, or are they looking for lofts, or are they what are the terms that they think they want? And how is that different by location? And then you can even zoom in even more and say, okay, for those people who are looking for nutritionist, what are the queries that they think they need? It's not just nutritionist, it's who is Khloe Kardashian's nutritionist? Probably not relevant to any of us, but okay. People are curious about it. This is good information. Another one, plant-based nutritionist. So if you are somebody who helps people become vegan, you may not want to say vegan, vegan, vegan everywhere. You may want to use vegan and plant-based and vegetarian and, all of the different variations of a term. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here, but knowing what it is that people think they want, the phrases that they use, the voice of the customer here. Do you guys have questions so far about any of these tools? I know I threw a lot at you. All right. I'm seeing shaking heads in all directions. Cool. Now, I sort of alluded to this when I said, if you have a page about courses, I can go to your courses page. And if you have the tool, Roxana, is Keywords Everywhere. It's at keywordseverywhere.com. It's spectacular. It will also show you keywords right on your Google Trends reports too, right here. So it'll tell you how many people were looking for a plant-based nutritionist. It's like my favorite thing. So if you have different pages on your site, each of those pages can rank for different ideas. So the jobs page will rank differently than the courses page, will rank differently than the services page. Or if you have service sub pages, this is the page about print design. This is the page about advertising design. This is the page about website design, logo design, right? So you can have different keywords assigned to different pages on your site. This isn't like I design cards, and so my phrase is greeting cards, and I have to use the word greeting card on every page of my site. This is the sympathy cards. This is the get well soon cards. This is the birthday cards. And then you can go into even more detail on those specific products, where this is the get well soon card for somebody who just had surgery. And this is a get well soon card for somebody who has a cold and missed their birthday, right? Like you can get really, really hyper specific on this. This isn't one page for everything. This is every page can pull in a different audience. You can also have multiple keywords for every page. So for that get well soon card, you can say get well soon card, illness card, cold card, flu card, right? You can point as many things as you want to that one page. So here's an example. This is someone Nancy knows from my membership. Her name's Sarah, and she has this awesome post called Alternative Careers for Lawyers. And this one page on her website has 477 different keywords. And I wanted to pull like a real person's website, not just like media company. Like this is how many keywords go to this New York Times article, but like this is a business. This is a micro business like we are. And she has this blog post about alternative careers for lawyers. And here are some of the things that people are searching for that her website is showing up for. So people are looking for jobs for lawyers leaving the law. She shows up number one, about 170 people a month look for that. Alternative careers for lawyers. She shows up number two, about 590 people search for that. Jobs for burned out lawyers, non-legal jobs for lawyers, alternative careers with a law degree, alternative careers for solicitors, leaving the law. I hate being a lawyer. Like sometimes people don't even know what the solution is that they want. They just go in and type the problem. I hate being a lawyer. God, I hate it. You know, and then they get here and they're like, oh, you hate being a lawyer? Here are some alternative careers. So knowing not just what's that like the perfect keyword that people could search for, but what are the problems that this piece of content can solve? What are the concerns that my ideal client might have? And you can see that sometimes there's 30 people who search for sometimes there's 600 people who search for these things. Doesn't have to be 27,000. It has to be the right people. Now, although Sarah has 477 keywords pointing to that page, we want to actually choose one target keyword for every page, just so that way we have an idea of what we want that to be. Google knows what we want that to be. And if you're using a plugin like Yoast, if you have a WordPress website and you have an SEO plugin, you have something to put in there. So in this list, you can see that Sarah's target keyword, her number one keyword, the top keyword that she wants to rank for is alternative careers for lawyers. And how do I know that? It's in her title. It's called Alternative Careers for Lawyers, What to Do When You Want to Quit Law. It's in her URL, Alternative Careers for Lawyers. That's the name of the post. So she can rank for tons and tons of different keywords. But this one is kind of like how she would define that information. Where else can we put keywords besides just the URL? We can put them into the title tag. We want this to show up on the search engine results with specific information showing. So Sarah's title tag is right here. This is when you are in Squarespace and you go into your page settings and you have that SEO title. If you have a SEO plugin on your WordPress website, you can do it right in there and it will show you what this looks like on Google. But you can see here, she's got this SEO title that says Alternative Careers for Lawyers. So she's putting that exact phrase in there. If you're not sure which keyword you want, you can go take a look at the search engine results and be like, oh, here are other people saying alternative jobs for lawyers, finding an alternative career for lawyers. So she's fitting in right where this search term should be, right? What are some other, so when you're thinking about how to write these SEO titles, you want to try to get the keyword in there to tell Google what this is about. So Alternative Careers for Lawyers is right there in her title. And then the part that comes after the domain is called the slug. So it's formerlawyer.com/ and then you have the slug right here. Try to keep this short, make it easy to share. It doesn't have to be 60-alternative-careers-for-lawyers- you know, it doesn't have to be the super long thing, but if you can just be condensed, concise about what you want that page to show up for, and then use that target keyword in there. Yeah, this is exactly what this post is about. It just kind of highlights for Google what that page is meant to do. And even for like your homepage, you may have a kind of generic big picture idea of what you want to do. And then you want to write a meta description underneath it. So here's my SEO title. Love FirstSearch, SEO strategy and training for online businesses. It kind of gets cut off with these SEO titles. They often get truncated. So Google will read about 80 characters, but it'll cut you off at about 65 or 70. That's okay. And then for our meta description, what is the thing that you want to tell people about what they'll expect when they get to your website? What is the way that you can invite people in? What's a sneak peek of what they can expect here? So here's mine. Using simple SEO strategies, we teach you to create intentional content, show up in search results, and get more leads and sales from your website. I can't fit all of that information into my SEO title, but it gives you an idea of what you can expect when you get there. And also explain to people who are searching through these search engine results why they should choose me, why they should choose my website, not the other 9, or, if it's a really busy website, it can be like 20 different things between the videos and the snippets and the everything, why are they choosing me? The meta description is a great place to give them an idea of what to expect. Then you can kind of sprinkle these other keywords, like the synonym keywords, throughout the rest of the post. So we saw that Sarah had those 400 something keywords. The top choice was alternative careers for lawyers, so she put that in there. But then we also saw that people were saying, I hate being a lawyer. They were saying, I want to leave the law. They want to leave law behind. So she's just kind of taking these other phrases that are still relevant to that audience. Maybe they don't know yet that they're looking for an alternative career. They just know they want to leave. Taking some of those phrases and just kind of sprinkling them throughout, like a synonym. You don't want to keep using the same phrase when you write over and over again. You want to find different ways to say the same thing or similar things. You can also include your keyword in your images. This is really important for those of us with visual brands. So who was on a minute ago, isn't on my screen anymore. Kirsten. So she has these greeting cards that she sells. Like, you want those greeting card pictures to show up in Google image search results. So when people go and look for, congratulations cards, we want to see a picture of your greeting card there. We don't want to have to read the description and figure out what it is. We want that picture to show up. So when you include information about that, what is in the picture in the alt text, Google can't see the picture of the greeting card, but if you say this is a quirky greeting card for people who are just got a new job, and then somebody goes and Googles like new job card, maybe they'll actually see it and click over and buy it. So if you have an image dependent brand, this can be very helpful for Google image search results. It's also really important for accessibility. Now, I haven't talked too much about accessibility here. That's not the focus of this, but you figured there are going to be people in your audience who have some sort of visual impairment. And so the alt text will they can't see the image, so the alt text will read to them what is in that image. So if you're trying to figure out what you want to say in your alt text, think to yourself, what would somebody who can't see this image need to know about it? And then if you can also say, what would somebody search for if they wanted to see this image? Try to get some of that information in there. Alt text doesn't have like a word count to it. It's not like a file name where you have to put like dashes or underscores in it. Alt text can be whatever information you want people to know. It's also the Pinterest default text, which is why I have this little image here. So if somebody's pinning directly from your website, you can choose what default text will show up in that space. Now, when I was talking about sprinkling different keywords throughout the website, this is the point where people go, but Yoast is going to tell me that I have to use the same keyword in all the places. So for those of you that are on WordPress, Yoast is an SEO plugin that will give you a green, yellow, or red light based on how well you have taken that keyword and put it in all these places. And I'm going to give you a permission slip to not stress about Yoast. Okay. It's more important that people can find it for the term that they're looking for and that they want to read the content than that you have that same phrase in 20 different places. So in Sarah's case, it would be like, Yoast would want her to be like, I was looking for an alternative career for being a lawyer, and I realized that I wanted an alternative career for a lawyer. And like, no one wants to read that crap, right? Like, it's terrible writing. So I'm going to answer these questions in just a moment. So just thinking about the fact that no, Yoast does not communicate to Google. None of these SEO plugins have a special secret fast pass to Google. They are just reminding you to make updates to your website. So don't stress about getting a red or yellow light. That's totally okay. What's more important is the user experience. You can use it as a reminder of all these different places, but don't feel like you have to get that. Lenny says, you're mentioning post. Is this concentration on blog posts? This is every page of your site. This is, I'm sorry, I'm using the word post, but this is every page on your site can be ranking for different things. Every blog post, every show notes for a podcast, every product listing, every portfolio design, anything that you are uploading or publishing can be found for something. Yoast is a WordPress software, Roxana. There is no similar tool for Squarespace. You kind of just have to have it as a checklist in your head. I have a checklist also on my website for Squarespace SEO. So I'm happy to share that link in a little bit between all the talking. Is there a perfect keyword? No. Sometimes I think people get a little bit panicky about like, oh, which keyword do I choose? It's like, oh, open the floodgates, like let people come to you for what makes sense. Did Nancy, when she wanted that, like, when she got the NFL to find her, was she like football graphic design? Probably not, right? But she was graphic design near me or graphic design in Connecticut because, well, NFL's, I don't know where NFL is. I know East Pam's in Connecticut, but you know, like getting, there is no one keyword that will unlock everything for you. It's about having a strategy so that everything that you are trying to be found for can be found for something else. So let me sort of explain what I mean by this. It's a little, a little hard to wrap your head around. So because we can get found for tons of different ideas, you don't have to come out of the gate with the perfect keyword in your brain. What I recommend that you do is, yes, choose what you think the best topic is. Think about what you would be looking for if you wanted to have that service, find that page, ask questions about that topic, and then publish it. Do your best and publish it. And then there's a tool that Google gives us for free called Google Search Console, and it will tell you every single phrase that anybody has typed into Google and seen you in the search results, down to like one person who typed it in and showed up and they misspelled it, and we still have that information. So once it's been published, then you can go in and say, well, what's working? And then maybe go in and rewrite the blog post. It doesn't have to be a full rewrite. You can just make some little shifts and adjustments and tweaks. Maybe you want to rename it so that way you have a keyword that is, you know, kind of wasn't something you were thinking about when you wrote it the first time, and you can just rename it. It's okay to republish. Your website is not like a painting on the wall that you print it and you put it behind a piece of glass and it's done forever. It's a garden. It needs to be weeded. It needs to be tended. It needs to be fertilized. And then it will grow a harvest for you. So which keywords go on which page? Your home page should be the most generic idea of what it is that you do. I am a realtor in Brooklyn. I am a freelance writer for this industry. I have these products that I sell. Big picture, probably what's on your business card. That might go on your about page instead. You know, maybe one page is Brooklyn real estate firm, and then the about page is I am a realtor in Bed-Stuy, right? Like you can be, as you go down the page, you can be more and more specific. And then The product pages, like I was mentioning, if you have an e-commerce shop, it can be these categories where you say, this is this kind of card, and this is this kind of card, and this is this kind of card. If you have services, again, this is the, the advertising versus the print design versus the this, all of those different sub pages can be found for what they're looking for. But if you try to fit too many things onto one page, it would be hard. So if you're like, I'm a graphic designer and here's everything I can do for you, it kind of waters it down. But if you say, here's what you need to know about having your website designed. And also I only do Squarespace, and I do Squarespace web design for artists. Every time that you get more specific, you decrease the pool of people looking for you, but you increase your chance that the right people will find you. All right, Eric is getting me. It's kind of a hard idea. It's like, it's very like economic supply and demand, which I try not to get too nerdy about, like my high school economics. And then you can get even more specific. You can answer those questions. I do Squarespace website design for artists, and here's how I set up their portfolios. And that can be a blog post. That can be a piece of content. That can be a video. You can take a portfolio piece and tell a case study about it. This is a Squarespace design that I did for a calligrapher. And then you're going to start ranking for Squarespace web design for calligraphers, right? And then more calligraphers can find you and hire you, and illustrators. And, you can get more specific, recognizing that we often put these kind of umbrella terms on people. I am a web designer for creative entrepreneurs, but calligraphers don't call themselves creative entrepreneurs. Illustrators call themselves illustrators or comic book artists. I'm obsessed with how Nancy described Fly Female Founders, because she was like, we help micro businesses that could be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses, freelancers. Like, she's getting all these different terms that people may identify with, because I probably run a micro business. I wouldn't call it a micro business. I would call myself an entrepreneur. I would call myself a small business owner. I might not, like knowing that different people, Carol called herself a freelance writer, like knowing that different people use different terms to define themselves, but we all can benefit from a service. You want to know what are the things that your people are looking for, and then assign those terms to different pages. So if you're a health coach in Kansas City, you could have on your homepage, this is health coaching in Kansas City. Those are your keywords for that page. That can go into your SEO title, so that when people find you in search results, they'll see that this is a health coaching service in Kansas City. On your about page, you can say, I'm a health coach for this audience. I'm a health coach who specializes in people with high-risk pregnancies. I'm a health coach for busy corporate executives, right? Like, who are you serving? How are you serving them? What are the outcomes you're getting for them? I'm a health coach who focuses on strength training, right? Like, what specifically are you doing? And then what services do you have? You can get even more specific here, a cancer nutrition support group. And then you can write a blog post or a podcast or a video about what are foods that cancer patients should avoid. So that way people who are diagnosed and they want that information can then go, oh, I'm going to go join this person's support group. But they're just looking for information. They don't know that they want a support group yet. Copywriting. Your homepage can be, we provide copywriting services. And then your about page can be, I'm a website copywriter. And then your products can say how to hire a copywriter. And then your content can be 10 questions to ask before you hire somebody, right? So getting more and more specific. It's a smaller search volume, but when people are ready to hire, they're going to look for, what should I ask a web copywriter in an interview? And then they can come to you and be like, oh, hey, I can just hire this person. They already know what I'm thinking about. So knowing what are the questions that people might have for you. All right. I think I answered all the questions that popped up, but I'm going to stop sharing this for a moment. Take a sip of water, you guys. I'm going to load up your websites and take a minute to take a drink. So what do you
want to take like a 5-minute bio break, 10-minute bio break if people want to run to the bathroom or get a drink or something like that? So
why don't me if you guys need it?
Yep. Why don't we say like, what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? What do you guys want?
We're right at the halfway point, so that's perfect.
5 minutes. Okay, so we'll see you all in 5 minutes. If you are putting your URLs in, it helps if you put it with the HTTPS so that it can be clicked on easily in the link. Roxana, you just put yours in, you can correct that, and that would be great. Thanks. I went in the kitchen and started coming back. Realized I left my cane in there, and my husband will yell at me.
Well, thankfully you're in the house. You know your way around. Hopefully the cat won't trip you up.
I'm fine at this point.
I just know cats have this tendency to do this, especially for people with any sort of like mobility. They're just
Right.
like doing their figure eights. My dog does it too. I don't know why I'm blaming just cats.
Because there's one behind me.
Yeah.
One of two.
I wish I could have cats.
Someone's allergic.
My husband.
Oh,
Yeah. My my 6-year-old a couple of years back was like, I wish I had a different dad so I could have a cat. Like, that's not nice to say. Maybe you could say I wish dad wasn't allergic to cats. Maybe that's how it but I wish we could have a cat. So he's not wrong.
yeah.
He's just a jerk.
So you've opened everybody's websites at this point?
I think so. I will confirm that I have all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got an hour, so that's 5 minutes a person.
And you don't have to do mine or Fly Female Founders. I just
Wasn't going to. Good.
Good.
I'm glad you put them in there so people have access to them.
Yeah.
And I think a couple people had too. So I will maybe go through one of them for those folks and then
Yeah.
loop back if we have time.
So you think you said everyone's in there?
I think so. I will confirm when people hop back on.
Okay. when you come back in, everyone, if you could either type it in the chat or show, turn your video on so we know you're back, that would be great. See, Robbie was hiding on us. You can turn it back off now that we know you're back if you want.
If you don't have your video on, can you still give like a thumbs up? Is that a thing that you can do in Zoom?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know. No, I guess not. It doesn't show up. Oh, it does along the sidebar in the participants.
I'm seeing
Yeah,
it.
Roxana did it.
Yeah.
Cool. But it disappears so quickly. So.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just found my Wix backend and only to find that none of the SEO has been put input. So I'm working on it.
You may still be okay.
Well, I'm sure okay, but this is kind of new. I had a blog for like decades and had lost my website due to joining a big corporate engineering firm. So I'm really at a great place starting out and getting actually great responses. I just want more incoming so I can do less work.
Yes,
Marketing.
we all.
I know it's going to work. I'm just, pretty excited actually.
I do want to let you know that Wix is not the best platform for SEO. It's not impossible. It's not the strongest. They do a lot of JavaScript in their code, which Google doesn't like. So I just want you to be aware of that. I have clients that are on Wix. It takes them about 50% more work. It's not impossible. It just requires more effort.
I have a lot of images and I used to tag all my images. So I'll just go back and make sure.
Yeah.
It's a visually based, discipline that I'm in. So, yeah.
Right. And I think that there's this chicken and egg scenario, which is people who don't like doing web design are more likely to get on platforms that make it easier to do web design, but then they aren't thinking about SEO the same way as the nerds like me.
I think that might have happened with my designer who's fabulous, but that was her choice. Other people said WordPress, which is actually free, more free, less expensive for plugins. I'm a little stuck with a lot of bills. But it looks beautiful and I'm getting great responses. So, just moving on.
It keeps working. Yeah, WordPress is the software is free, but then you have to pay for hosting, you have to pay for domain, you have to there's some hidden stuff. So
yeah.
You get what you pay for. All right. Do we have everyone back?
I'm not sure if Erica and Libby are back, but I would say Libby's back. Okay, Erica, are you back? Okay, well, we're going to get started anyway. Okay.
All right. So here's what I have. I have Cup of Cards, Curate Your Mate, lslp.net, Lenny's website, Robbie, Ventura GD, Creative Packaging Solutions, Women, Wealth and Worth, and Erica Sullivan. If I did not grab your link, please put it in the chat box now. If you have more than one link, I will. So I think Kirsten and Lenny had two. I will go through one of those. So let me know which is your preferred link to look at first. If we have time at the end, I will loop back to second sites. And here's my plan. If you guys aren't here, if you need to step away, just say like, skip me or whatever, but I'm going to try to go in order. I have my little 5-minute timer right here. So I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes and then cut myself off because I can talk for a long time. All right, let's look at Curate Your Mate. Join our mailing list. Before we even get here, I'm like, please, can you tell me what I get for joining your mailing list? Because joining your mailing list feels like it benefits you more than it benefits me. So yes, be the first to know about our new arrivals and sales. I am not sure who you are yet. So this feels like a bit early of a pop-up, but maybe try to give me something in exchange or say, join the 4,000 people who are getting our weekly emails, or join our mailing list to get tips delivered right to your inbox about dating, or give something a little bit more here first. All right. Curate Your Mate. We've got your brand name here. This up here, if you look at the tab on your browser, that is the same as what should show up in your SEO title. So your SEO title, as far as I would guess, just says curate your mate, which is a very cute name, but doesn't explain what it is that you do. So let's change this to something like curate your mate, dating advice for, I can't remember what you said specifically, middle-aged urban women. Okay.
Accomplished midlife women frustrated by dating.
Okay, so let's put that in the SEO title for accomplished midlife women. And then we also want this here. We want Google to know when we land here what this is a page about. Curate your mate could be about getting matching coffee cups, right? What is this page? Who are you helping? What is the value that you are providing to them? You can find the one. Again, this could be about finding a coffee cup. You could start here with, even as an accomplished midlife woman, you can still find a dream partner, right? We want to be obvious. We want to hit people over the head. This is who I help. This is the outcome they will get. This is how I help them. Right now we're starting as, hey, here's what I'm not, right? Instead, let's start with,
Oops.
and who is I? Who is me? This is a very strange grammatical thing. Let's start with what the problem is. As an accomplished woman in your 30s and 40s, you might feel like you're never going to find someone, or you may have tried dating and it didn't work the way you wanted it to. Men were intimidated by your success, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm Kirsten, and I help accomplished women in their 30s and 40s to find love in a meaningful way where they can show up as themselves.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had that recorded. Oh, it is recorded.
It is.
Silly me.
As I'm scrolling down the page, I skim, humans skim, but also Google pays attention most to our headlines. So it's personal. What's personal? Personalized dating coaching for women, right? Or even just personalized dating coaching. Or you could even make a play here. And I tell Nancy this all the time. We need to be clear before we're clever, but we can still be clever. Personalized dating coaching, not personal ads, right? Like you can still play, you can still have fun here, but we do want it to be clear before we worry about it being smart or cheeky in some ways. It's okay to have fun, but we also want to know exactly what this is. I want a call to action here. I want a way to book a call with you right away. Oh, hey, this is somebody who understands what it's like to date in the city in my 30s, 40s, 50s. I want to get on a call with her. Excellent. I love seeing a clear call to or a clear testimonial. Yeah, I definitely want to be able to book a call with you before I listen to your podcast. Right? Like if somebody's landing on your page and they want to hire you, please let them hire you. Let people give you money first and then give them the free stuff. Okay. If they're not ready to hire you, then give them the free stuff. Then invite them to your newsletter. I tend to think of this as top tier call to action. Hire me, give me money, buy my stuff. Secondary call to action, join my email list. Third tier call to action, listen to my podcast, read my blog, follow me on Facebook, but the first thing we want people to do, the goal of your website is to get you clients, to get you sales. The second thing that we want is to grow your email list, to capture people's information. And then the third thing is, okay, if you're not ready for that yet, let me give you the free stuff. I'm so glad I set this alarm. We'll talk really quickly. All right, we will come back to Cup of Cards if we have a minute. Back to 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. I'm such a newbie and this was amazingly helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Lenny is an urbanist, a designer, and an artist. And that is, good. We have an SEO title in here that has that information in it. And then we've got this testimonial here. I highly recommend as a public speaker to wake up as an audience, get in touch. So we do have that call to action. And then we have here clearly, what is it that Lenny does? Public speaking, training, advisory. Lenny, I'm really confused. There are so many words that are describing what it is that you do. I don't know what an urbanist is. I do know what a designer is and an artist. I'm not quite sure if you're a designer and an artist, why I'm hiring you for public speaking instead of for art. So let me keep reading. Okay, this is good. Here are the people who can work with you: governments and organizations, design professionals, real estate, lighting manufacturers, meeting and conference conveners. Excellent. That is so much clearer to me than anything that's up here. So maybe instead of having this start with hire Lenny as a public speaker, it could be, here's your value proposition. I help government agencies, designers, and manufacturers to create unique experiences using lighting. I help this audience to have this outcome. And then maybe on your about page, we can get into more details about, and I'm so glad you have this get in touch. I wish it was book a call or, you know, apply to work with me or something that's a little bit stronger than get in touch here, but it's okay, right? Get in touch is great, especially a bright call to action box like that. On your about page, I'm glad that we have about, and then we have your name, but that's your brand. I'd like it to be about Lenny, however you pronounce your last name, Schwendiger, colon, and then what are your titles? Designer, artist. Maybe we don't even want to say urbanist, designer, and artist. We just want to say lighting designer for professional design or for professional buildings.
Right. The problem is that is not what I'm selling on this website.
Then I am not understanding from your copy, and the copy needs to be clearer. Yeah. And that's why I like to not look at any of this information beforehand, because I want to tell you what I'm reading.
Yeah.
If it's public speaking, then we need to talk more about public speaking and less about urbanist, designing, artist. We need to talk about public speaker for these audiences.
So the tagline under my name is causing confusion.
A lot of confusion.
If we remove that, and this is the bare bones, this is actually a soft launch. Several pages that are going to be added with my courses and trainings that are not there yet. So the public speaking training and advisory are going to be links.
Okay. So maybe that'll be clearer to me when they become links, when they move up here, and we can say home is the page on the main nav. We have speaking, we have training. And then on those pages, it can be training about, and you can get into more detail about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Great idea. Thank you.
Okay. I think you have 1 minute left. Any questions?
Let's see. I just wanted to see your
okay. So we have videos, we have podcasts. Really good to have both of those on here. And then, you know, like I was saying, I want people to be able to hire you. I want people to get on your mailing list and then have kind of this supplemental authority behind it, which is here's how you can see her in action. I love having this video on here for you.
No, I don't think we have a mailing list sign up thing, which we can do, of course. What else do we have? Contact. Can you click contact at the top bar and see what that is? This is really quite new. Okay, questions, concerns.
So that's a form, but not a mailing list sign up. Okay.
So we could add a mailing list sign up there, do you think?
Yes, I always like to get people on email. That way, like, you know, you can always follow up with them and you own the list. You can't control who sees your algorithm post. You can't control who downloads your podcast, but you can get more intimate access to people via email.
Yep. So I agree. It was like a huge revelation, the benefits to certain client types. So yeah, if you had any other, you said that was really good. I'll just stick with that for now.
Yeah. And I think also, you know, being super clear about here's why a government organization would want to hire me to speak. Yeah. Here's how a design professional, you know, conference might hear from me. And that might become more clear once you have more fleshed out, you know, public speaking versus training.
Okay. Thank you. If we can get to the other website, then you'll see me as a lighting designer. But
There we go. Maybe that's part of it, is that you said lighting designer, so my brain went lighting designer. So
yeah, so totally great. Thank you.
awesome. Robbie, design, strategy, visualization. Is this a video?
No.
It looks a little pixelated on my screen. I don't know what's going. It looks like it's kind of flickering. I don't know. Are you looking for a graphic design partner who can relate to your marketing vision and translate it into reality? You've come to the right place. I love this phrase, graphic design partner. I like including marketing in there. The other piece that I'd like to see here is, are you a creative director? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a, what's one word that somebody that you work with would use to describe themselves, and try to get in there. So are you a welder looking for a graphic design partner, right? Like it doesn't have to be you can get as specific or as loose as you want to, but that way when somebody lands here and they are a welder, they're like, I'm in the right place. And the entrepreneurs are like, no, I'm not in the right place. If the big corporation lands on this, it's like, no, this isn't for me, right? So being clear about who we're serving can also help people who we don't want to contact us to self-select out of this. Hi, I'm Robbie. I love this. Beautiful picture. Graphic designer, creative lead, visual storyteller. Excellent. Good. Designing logos, brochures, and websites for these people. Awesome. So we just had to get there. Took us a little bit longer. That's okay. So what I'm seeing here is this piece. This is what I'm interested in. My specialty is logos, brochures, and websites. It feels a little buried within there. Yes, it's larger text, but I kind of want that to leap to the forefront. Mm-hmm. Maybe in this, comprehensive web and brand design for creative entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm going to come over to your services page too, because that's where I'm curious. Enterprising business owner, love that. And then we want to be clear about what it is that you do. Yes, logo design, websites, print design. Excellent. Do we have links through here?
Yes, there's links.
Okay, I was clicking on the words, not the images. So let's make sure that the words are clickable as well. And then we'll go to a page just about logo design. Perfect. And we have a nice, strong headline one here that is logo design. We want to also get that into your, but this is your portfolio. Okay. So your services page goes to your portfolio page and links to it. So this is the logo design. So I would try, if possible, I don't know exactly how your software is set up to have this be logo design examples, logo design projects, logo designs for entrepreneurs. And then here, this is the futures prototype logo design. There's our caption. If possible, I'd love to see more information about this, whether that's, a case study about the futures hiring you to do this, or if you don't have time to get there quite yet, just say like, making sure this has an alt text that says infinity-based logo for innovative startup in New York City, right? Like getting some of those phrases that people who would want something like this, that people who are similar to the Mayflower descendants might want to find something along those lines. And I'm guessing that the Mayflower descendants and the futures don't have a lot of overlap in who those clients are. So making it clear, I'd say that's actually kind of a dichotomy,
right.
But making it clear how you helped the Mayflower descendants, why they wanted their logo to be in black and white and to have this information, whereas the futures want it to be more vivid, more colorful, bright just kind of trying to figure out if somebody was looking for a simple logo design, a logo design for a construction company, a architecture, engineering, design, and construction logo, like just thinking, if I wanted something like this, what would I search for? And try to use that information in your descriptions. And you have a couple different like architect and building related logos. So maybe there's a blog post in here that is 5 steps to designing a unique logo for your architecture or construction firm. And you use these as examples and say, well, when I was doing the logo for Chillmark Construction, they wanted it to look like this, as opposed to Curdy Construction, which wanted something that was a little bit more house related, you know, like telling the story of how you got there while using your own examples.
I haven't actually activated my blog post yet. I have it there, but I haven't made it live. I'm sort of afraid of having to commit to writing too much.
Yeah,
too
I understand
often.
that. So we can start with descriptions. We can start with, on the top of the portfolio page about logo design, maybe right below this, having a description that says, I help emerging, I can't remember the word you used, small businesses to demonstrate their value through their brand and logo design. And you talk a little bit about it and you say logo design packages starting at $12,000, I don't know, and then book a call with me and a button right there, and then have information about all these different logos underneath it. You don't have to commit to blogging, but make every page have its value.
Right.
Woohoo, nonprofit graphic design. I'm like, yeah, this is a super clear SEO title. All right, wait, this is 10 minutes, this is 5 minutes. Every time I turn the cube, it changes the amount of time on the timer. Nonprofit graphic design, awesome. Smart and effective graphic design for nonprofits, super clear. I love that. Reports, branding, websites, print collateral, campaigns, and then this just filters in. Each of these has some information here where you can see the full report. Awesome. But then you have these images, and the images have alt text. You could include even more information here if you wanted to write up more about it. Maybe a link to the Mind Trust website. So that way it can give you a little bit of credibility that people can go check it out. But kind of why, if you have this space and you have this already laid out that you can do it, give more information. The Mind Trust came to me because they wanted an annual report that had this and this and this. This is why we made these decisions. This is how we were able to share things visually in a way that made sense. We were able to incorporate their brand colors and here and just kind of tell more of a story. Beautiful. Love that. This is awesome. You can still hire me. I specialize in nonprofits. Here's why, but I don't only work with nonprofits. I like that you make that super clear. Like, I will take your money.
Right. Yeah, of course.
You can I would let you give me money, but also I think the people who work at nonprofits who are looking for nonprofit design will love having these core values here.
Cool.
Subscribe to my newsletter. Why? Right? What do they get out of that newsletter? I know that a lot of us are told, like, just gather everyone on your newsletter. But again, just saying subscribe to my newsletter is a benefit to you, not a benefit to me. Want regular nonprofit marketing tips? Get your nonprofit website checklist. Something that makes them feel like they will get value out of it. Let's see. Okay, educational nonprofits and others. So I like that you say educational nonprofits here. Maybe you want to write a blog post too that's just like how educational nonprofits can use graphic design to increase their donor capacity, or something, and talk about the different types of annual reports that you work with. Talk about how the different, specialties that you have can benefit them. Talk about why nonprofits can use infographics for brand awareness. How nonprofits can can do better board presentations, and how that will help with board development. How you designed a direct mail campaign that increased the annual giving by X%, right? Like, if you have case studies, if you have specifics, and if you can tell the stories of the people that you work with in that process, not just like every nonprofit needs an annual report, but like, here's why this organization use this annual report in this way, that can be a really powerful thing to educate other people on it. Yeah. And then services, eventually, I'd love to see this build into a page for logo design for nonprofits, a page for web design for nonprofits. But for right now, the more that you can kind of build out maybe these nonprofit specialties, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Great.
This is great too. You could link to all of these if you wanted to. Give
Yeah.
them the shout
Does
outs.
that benefit? I mean, I didn't know that it would benefit me to link them.
It will prove that they are real organizations. You know, these aren't just like, oh, I was in art school and I did this test project.
Right.
But another thing that it does is it points out to Google, like, I know what I'm doing because I've worked with all these nonprofits, and it kind of like makes the nonprofits feel good that like, oh, she's worked with so many great organizations.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
And I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters for 5 years, so I'm a big fan of them.
Nice.
Yeah, and let's see. We've got a couple more. We got 11 seconds left, so let me see what I got.
It's kind of a random blog post.
Yeah, I think, you know, knowing what we just talked about, where it's like, you know, what are some things that people might be looking for instead of new year, new logo? It might be like why I chose to rebrand my logo to better demonstrate how I help nonprofits. Like always, what is the thing that my client could get from this blog? What is the thing that they would be searching for to find this? And what is the thing that they can learn about me if they find it that would make them feel like I understand them better?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm so glad I used graphic design in my thing because you guys have so many cool design solutions here. It's like Nancy's people come back to life. Okay, 5 minutes. Packaging USA, creative packaging solutions. Okay, it's a WordPress website. Creative packaging solutions. We can take out the dashes there. The hard thing about a page that has a slider like this is that we don't always have a space to tell a story or give a value proposition. And a lot of these slider pieces say basically the same thing. I'd like to either see a static image with text over it that explains what it is that you do, or each of these slider images be slightly different with different value propositions. Why do we have these 3 images that are different? How are they showing how the different products and budgets would work? I'd also, if possible, based on the theme that you're using, like to see something down here that says, at Creative Packaging Solutions, we help this type of business with designing packaging solutions that are unique to what they need, from, you know, mailers to jars to all the different things that people could include. I tend to do this copywriting thing where I'll say, whether you need blank or blank or blank or blank, you know, so it sounds very natural, but it also includes a lot of different things that people could be looking for. Same with like whether you want or whether you are blank or blank, we can help you with why.
Okay.
Let me take a look at the products.
So you're suggesting that would be at the bottom of the page?
Yeah, that way it shows up on your homepage. That's kind of the space where Google's going to go, what is the value? What is the thing that this audience is trying to serve? And for most websites, the homepage is the most visited page on the site. So we want to have a very clear explanation there of whether they're in the right place or not. That will decrease your bounce rate, which is when people come to the page and leave really quickly. It's like, oh, yes, they have what I need.
Remove the slider, put in a static picture. Okay.
Yes. That'll also help with your site load time. So I was saying how, Google wants a page that loads really quickly. 1 image will load faster than 3 images. I'm going to look at your products page too, because this feels like an opportunity to be really specific. So instead of primary packaging and secondary packaging, we could have this be glass packaging and paper or cardboard packaging. I like cosmetic packaging a lot. Other packaging needs fields a little bit generic. Maybe we could get a little bit more specific here. And then this one could be bags and pouches, right? Like, so instead of the way that you think about this, which is here's the primary ones and here's the secondary ones, what are other people going to be looking for? I want cardboard packaging. I need glass tubes, you know.
Okay, well, those are links.
Yes, but this is a page that is trying to show all of them. And so I would never think like, if I was looking for a jar for this, if I was selling this, I wouldn't go, I need primary packaging for this. I'd go, I need a jar with a twist off,
Okay.
right?
Good point. Good point.
You know, if I'm looking for this, I'm looking for a cardboard box. So I'm not thinking primary and secondary. I'm thinking glass jar, cardboard box.
Gotcha.
Now you guys know exactly what's on my desk. My lip gloss and my tarot cards, obviously. And then you can go even more in detail here when you say, here are the types of jars that we have. We have plastic, we have glass, we have amber, we have clear, you know, and you're doing that here. And then I love this too, where you say, here's packaging for pharmaceuticals. You know, being more specific about who it is that you're serving, who wants a canister package versus a jar packaging. How do you choose if you want a canister versus a jar? When people say, I have this thing, do they know if it's a canister or jar that they want yet?
Probably not.
Right. They just know I want plastic, I want glass, I want it twist off, I want it to do this and this and this, you know, so kind of understanding not the industry terms that you think in. This is one of those, it's called the curse of knowledge, when we know our industries so well that we talk to other people as if they know our industries. So like, I don't know if I would want an HDPE or LDPE bottle. I just know I would want it to be plastic, right? And then you can get into more detail about that as they get into the actual product listings. You can say these bottles come in HDPE and LDPE, and maybe that's a time to say, here's a blog post about what is the difference between HDPE, LDPE, PET, thick wall. How do you choose if you want clear glass or amber glass? Like, education is going to be a huge part of what you're doing here. Sure, there will be people who come in and say, I want an aluminum bottle. But people may need more education before they can make that decision.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
Of course. Women, wealth, and worth. Step into your money power. Start your investing journey now. Okay. Women, wealth, and worth. Very clear brand here. I think for the SEO title, you could even say women, wealth, and worth, which is, there's so much packed into that brand name, but then you could say : helping women with investing in retirement savings, whatever that, buy real estate, whatever the outcome is that your people are looking for. Oh, here we go. Financial coaching, salary negotiations. You can kind of include some of that information in the SEO title for the homepage. I don't think this logo is necessary here because we have this up here already. I think this is so strong already. Start your investing journey now. I don't know what empower yourself is or how that would be different than start your investing journey. Okay, so that one's going to the investing page. Empower yourself is going to the contact page. I would cut this whole section right here and instead have a value prop of here's who we are, here's how we help people, here's who we help. Here are the ways that we can make a difference for you.
Roxana, you can unmute so you can respond.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Yes. So yeah, I want to put a picture where the big logo is of me.
Mhm.
I just need to do new photos. So
Totally get it. So I would say here, start with step into your money power. We help women to create generational wealth through financial coaching and salary negotiations and, you know, investing and so on and so forth. And then once you have your new pictures, it can be, I'm Roxana. I'm a certified financial coach, and I saw that women were struggling with boom, boom, boom.
okay.
What are those pain points? What are the things that they're looking for? They're looking for how to start investing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right. Just so the where I put my photo, then to the right of that or below, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can talk to one of the graphic designers in the group for how it doesn't
Okay.
align at all.
Right.
From SEO,
Okay,
it doesn't
cool.
matter.
Okay. Awesome. And then the empower button you said could be something, because we do have like a pop-up that when people come to the site for the first time where they can enroll in the newsletter.
Mhm.
So no more calls to action then, because that
You
start
can have
your
a call to
investing-
action. I didn't know empower yourself was going to the contact form.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I would have book a call now or find out how to work with me or something that is a clearer button to outcome point, empower yourself.
Okay.
I'm like, what does that mean?
Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay.
If you had to say where does empower yourself go, I'd go, oh, it's going to go to the blog so I can read about it and empower myself, not like work with me.
Okay.
We have a bit of time. So is there another page you want me to take a look at?
Can you repeat that?
We have a bit more time. Is there a page you want me to take a look at?
Sure. Why don't we do the newest, or the one that I'm trying to market most is the speaking opportunities. So I speak at Fortune 100 companies on financial wellness. So this is a newer page that we've added.
Ooh.
And so I'd love to hear feedback there.
Sure. So starting with the SEO title, which is the thing that tells Google what this page is about and the thing that people will be clicking on, public speaking on financial wellness or
Okay.
financial wellness speaker, New York City, especially if you're going to be speaking to people in person, you want to have that location on there.
Okay.
For here, instead of speaking, I like that you have speaker on financial wellness as our headline 2 here, but maybe instead of speaking engagements, it could be hire Roxanne to speak to your audience or whatever, who it is that you're speaking to. This is good. Book Roxana as the call to action there is really good. I love this picture of you. You could just use that on a homepage. You don't have to get new pictures.
Okay.
Work with what you got. Don't wait. Okay. Here are some of the seminars. Get financially organized. This is great that you have the list of the things that you can help people with, not only because it will help to have these words on this page. So people who are looking for a seminar about negotiation will see those words show up here, but also people will be more likely to book you when they're like, oh, these are the exact things that she can help us with. So I think that's really smart. Oh, just finished my sentence. We can go back if you guys have additional time at the end, but I just want to pace myself.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, Erica. So
Hi.
realtors have a very fun situation, which is that if you do your job well, your content doesn't last forever because the MLS listing should move really quickly. So SEO can be a little bit hard for realtors because it's like, I don't really want to optimize this post. I just want people to see it and buy it. Like, I don't want to be found for this forever. So let's see. We've got Erica Sullivan Properties. Oh, let me try to find the full thing. New York State real estate agent, Brooklyn property rentals and sales. Nailed it. Perfect SEO title for you. I'd like to see like a value proposition here, where it's like,
what do you mean by that? What is a value proposition?
A value proposition is, what is it that you do? Who do you do it for? What are the outcomes that they get?
Okay.
So helping young professionals buy their first home in Brooklyn, helping families grow into a new house after they have kids. It doesn't have to be that specific, it can be whatever, but thinking about who is the person that you're serving here.
Okay, because I have that in my about, but I guess it should be more,
It can be in both. We want it to be clear to your reader when they land on your homepage that they're in the right place. We want Google to know who to send to this page. I like that this is front and center, because even though they're going to be short term, it's still like, I get here and I'm like, oh shit, these are beautiful images. How I close, I kind of want this to be a little bit more descriptive of
Okay,
when I'm your real estate agent, here's what you can expect.
okay.
Or my approach
Mhm.
to selling and renting homes in Brooklyn, right?
Okay,
How I close could be any person who does sales. It's
okay,
Glengarry, Glenn Ross could write this one. But what
right,
is it about Erica? Why do I want to hire Erica here? And I think that what you're saying below this is good. My approach to finding the right home is unique to what the client needs, not just
right.
what are the properties that are on the market. I love this picture. And then this is great having these here. I'm going to check your about page because you said you had some information on there.
Mhm.
It's a great picture of you, so approachable. If you
Yeah,
can,
it's old, but I have to update it, but
that's okay.
just haven't gotten around to it.
We want approachable authority in these pictures,
Yes.
and that's exactly what this is. I would have this be about Erica, your last name, if you work for a specific brokerage, what your title is, if you have any of those credentials after your name. I want this to show your authority here. You know, yes, beautiful picture, but also like, what's your role here?
Okay.
And I like that this is giving your background. I also kind of want it to be about the person that you're working with.
Okay.
I was an associate broker, and while I was doing that, I learned that I like working with these people. Here's why you should move to Brooklyn, and here's why you should choose me to help you find a house, is the idea. This is about you. This is your bio, but it's really about your relationship with your clients. Okay.
I have to replay this. Yes.
It's fun. And then I think especially for real estate agents with such in a competitive locale like Brooklyn, one of the things you can do in your blog is, this is on a different page.
Yes, I have a company that feeds my blog that I hire.
Okay. And so they build this all up for you, but it's on a different domain. So the problem with having it on a different domain is it doesn't count for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if it lives on, erica-sullivan.com, if the blog lives on your page and people come find that blog post, then they can click through to your page, and it sort of like tells Google, oh, this blog post about buying a fixer-upper is Erica's. Whereas if it's on My Home HQ, then this is going to get traffic for My Home HQ. It's building up that website, not your website.
So there's no way to fix that.
Not in the current structure that you have, especially if you have other people writing these for you. And I'm looking only at the first three here. There may be something in here that's a little bit different, but these aren't specific to Brooklyn.
Right.
They're
yeah.
So
they're urban, but they're not specific to Brooklyn, right?
Right. So
they do get a lot of traffic, and I do get a lot of conversations out of it, but I did not take into consideration what you just said.
That's okay. So what could be happening here is people are finding these and they're coming to My Home HQ. So I don't know if these specific blog posts are getting people to sign up for your email list, if they link through to your page, or if they don't need that, the link to your full page. Maybe they come in here and they click the Get in Touch button, and this page is doing what it needs to do.
Yeah, I do get emails from it.
Okay.
Where does the chat go? Is it chatting with you, or is it chatting with My Home?
It's chatting with a person who links them with me.
Got it. So this is just an independent service that helps people find you in the Brooklyn area because you have this information up here.
Right.
Okay. It's just a second website, really.
Yes.
And then here's a link back to your full website so people can find it.
Right.
In a perfect world, I'd like to see these blogs on your website, but I understand that if it's working for you and other people are writing it and it's hands off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it. It gets you leads.
Right. Because I remember when I first signed up with it, within the first week, it paid for itself.
That's great.
So I was like, okay, fine. It already paid for itself. So let's just go with it until, at the end of when the year goes in, then I can rethink whether I want to continue it or not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if it's getting you leads and they're good qualified leads, if it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Right. But overall with my site, you don't hate it.
No, I think it's beautiful. I'd like to see something that's more specific to either you or to real estate here.
Okay. All right.
And more information about your approach to it, who you help, who you serve, where you are.
Okay.
But I think the structure of it's good.
Okay. Yeah, it's like I said, it's dated. I don't have anyone updating it for me anymore. I am not good with WordPress, so I definitely need somebody to help me.
Sounds like Nancy has her Rolodex open.
Yes.
I have like a list here of who I'm sending what to. So yeah.
Yes, Nancy, I'm desperate.
Okay.
Because I've been asking around, but folks, I look at their site and I'm like, it's not better than mine. So
You want it redesigned, or do you just want it maintained?
Re-maintain, a little bit of tweaking here and there.
Okay. All right. I know who to send you.
Okay.
All right, we have a couple more minutes, but two of you have messaged me privately and asked about working together. So I will pop my URL.
Yeah.
Hopefully Erica won't be like, ooh, her website looks like crap. I won't hire her.
No.
So there's my website if you guys need it. It's Love FirstSearch. I help people with, you can just book me for a half an hour or an hour and we can talk about the same things we talked about here for 5 minutes. You can hire me and my team to come up with a full content plan for changes to your website and tell you what to write. You can join my SEO membership, where this is what Nancy does, where, you go through a course and then I'm with you to help figure out how to implement it. So I'm not telling you exactly what to do, but I'm mentoring through the process. And I do have a couple self-guided courses available on there too. So depending on your time, your needs, how much you want to learn versus how much you want someone else to just do it, we have lots of options.
And I'll send you all that information in the follow-up email, or the follow-up email actually usually comes from Carol, but I'll give her all the information to send.
Carol has the information too.
I don't know. I'll have to get it from Meg.
I'll get
We'll
it.
figure it out.
I got
It's
it.
not hard.
We'll get a follow-up email that will have all of the offers.
Yes,
You
that would
guys
be
have
lovely.
any final questions?
We can go back to Lenny's second site if we have time. She's like, yes, please. The head is bobbing. Okay. Creative urban lighting. Let me see this whole thing. Light projects LTD. Okay. Fusing art and urban design with light. This is so much clearer to me. This is a lighting design service and consulting. This is who we're talking to. Even just the name Lenny Schwendinger Light Projects is super clear about what I'm going to get. I think you could even talk more here about what all of these pieces are below, get into more details here, and maybe have some additional content about, and maybe this is not even, maybe you just have blogs about how lighting for public spaces can improve public safety, how smart lighting can help decrease overhead for government agencies, whatever the outcomes are, but knowing.
Because there are downloads for all of those. So really I should turn them into links.
Yes, if they are downloads, then they can be crawled by Google. But like in the same way that I was saying earlier, if it's a PDF and you have to like scroll in and out on your cell phone, it's not as, the usability of it is not as good. And Google is less likely to link to a PDF than they are to a page. So take it, copy, paste it, throw it in a blog post.
Pages, and they are downloads. So I think what you're saying is right here, link the pages, which are in our work and programs.
Yes. Or, maybe it's not even, maybe it's just more information about this instead of a bullet list. Maybe it's, we help public spaces to design better lighting design because, just like more value here.
Got it. Yeah.
about who you help. I'm glad to see an email address here. I'm kind of confused though. So this isn't an email list. This is a contact. Make an appointment. Okay. I just assume when I just see that in the footer that it is an email list. It's not a
I'll
contact.
clear that up. I'll clear that up.
And what about the fact that it says get in touch on top? You had mentioned on the other page?
Work with me or something like that.
Yeah, I think get in touch feels a little bit passive.
Yeah.
It's I say the same thing whenever I see people say find out more. It's like about what?
Read on, stuff like that. Okay.
So contact, book a call, make an appointment, make it stronger. People are more likely to respond to strong calls to action. We also take a look here. Glad we have these here. Okay. This is like a little bit, it's like a CV. It's like a digital CV that talks about here are the services, here's my bio. I want this to be a little bit more, here's the relationship I have with my clients. Here's who I help with these services. Here are the outcomes that people get. Here's why you should hire me instead of the other lighting designer.
Mm-hmm. Let's just look. Where is that? That's in about. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is really clear. If you don't want to just link to blog posts in the homepage, you could just link to these working spaces, because this also gives me a very clear indicator of the types of things that you can help with. So even just
that again, I was writing the other note.
Sure. So on the homepage, instead of just having a bullet list of here are the types of things we can do, have links to these different pages of how people can work with you, and have an image of a bridge that says infrastructure and bridges and has a little explanation underneath that says we help with lighting on bridges, and then have a link to this page from here. So people don't have to look at the drop down to figure out what it is that you do, but we have pictures of the bridges that you've lit, pictures of the parks that you've designed, pictures of the public spaces, and having those visible on the homepage.
Oh, okay. Because if you click one of those, you'll see there's a lot there. So pick the key image, also do the key SEO for those as well.
Yeah, and some text underneath. The images are great, especially if it's an image that has an alt text to it and it has a link to another page, but then also have the description below in words, because Google can't see the picture. So you can say, this is how community, urban planning and community resources, like using the words, even if it feels like you're repeating yourself over and over again. Repetition's good, people skim.
Okay, never thought of that. That's great.
We know all of our projects so intimately. We know the places that we want to sell. We know the nonprofits that we've helped. We know every card that we've designed, but other people are seeing this for the first time.
Totally agree.
And you know that phrase about like, it takes someone seeing something 7 times before they act on it. Tell it to them, tell it to them, tell it. Feel like you're repeating yourself. Recognize that if your SEO is working, every page on your website could be the first time that somebody sees anything about you. Every page is a landing page.
Oh.
So every blog post, every portfolio piece, if they're optimized, that could be the first experience that someone has of you. And if all that it is a picture on a page, they're like, well, what do I do with that? Give a description. Explain it like they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
When we build our websites for people who know us, we don't need to do this. They're already warm. Think about cold traffic as if every page is the first time somebody sees you.
I think that's good. That's exactly what I want. Yeah. Then why don't we see if the public speaking, that's okay. I just need to check if it's connected to the new. Like it's not.
Yes, sure. Cross-linking between your websites is good in that way.
Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Before we close out, does anyone have any final questions? This was amazing. Going over people's sites, I think, was fantastic for them.
So much more fun than just me telling you what to do. It's like, let's see, let's look at each other's websites too.
This is so exciting. You've really gotten me excited today. That's great.
If I can get people excited about something as boring as SEO.
Meg, where's the best place or what page is best to put a blog, to start putting blogs on?
So the way that blogs Connie, are you on WordPress, Squarespace, Wix?
Yes, WordPress.
Okay, so basically when you start creating posts, so on the left sidebar, it's like pages, posts, images, whatever it is. If you start creating posts, they will automatically build a blog for you. And then all you have to do is figure out what page in your settings the blog is and put it in your navigation. I know that may have been a confusing way to say it. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's because I don't know if I have the answer.
Yeah, so if you write a post, you can write your blog as a post.
Okay, a blog is
And
a post.
A blog is a post. And then
Okay.
anyone can find it at any time. Once it's live, it's live. It doesn't have to be linked from anywhere. It doesn't have to be
Where is she-
showing up as a blog.
Is she making a page that is all blog posts? Is that what you're
I
recommending?
don't know. That's my question. Where is the best place
I
to
don't
put
think
them?
understanding that. Yeah.
I will tell you. Let me load the back end of my website and I can show you exactly what I mean, because it's hard to explain verbally.
Okay, if I created a post about the differences in plastics, where would I put it on my website? That's my
Post
question.
right here. Click add new post
Mm.
right here.
Okay.
And then you can come into, let me try to remember where it is. I think it's in the settings. Nope. Reading. Right here. Your homepage displays, and then it says posts page. And you want to have a page that's called something like blog or articles or
Okay.
whatever that is.
So this is where I need to hire somebody.
Yeah. And then all of those posts that you're writing, all of those like new posts will just show up on the page where it says, put the
Okay.
post here.
Okay.
And
Connie, I
once
have a theory.
You have
Connie,
a
I
blog page.
Yeah. Connie, I have a theory. Once we're over 50, we got to hire somebody.
I like your theory, Eric.
So I also just want to make one suggestion, Libby. I hope you don't mind if I pick on you, because Libby and I work together, and she's been working very hard on getting these newsletters out. And what I just saw is that the newsletters go onto your website as a blog post. And maybe you can do what I do, which is I write the newsletters, which are a little bit more personal and funky. But then I link to, I expand on it, or I make it more SEO friendly on the website itself. So
Okay.
it might not, you might not even include everything that's in the newsletter, or you might say, I talk about this more on my blog or whatever it is. And that's where you put the more detailed information that Meg was talking about.
Because if you send it out as a newsletter, the people who are on your list right now will get it and maybe they'll open it. If you put it on your blog, then people who don't know you yet can find it. People who haven't joined your email list,
Okay.
but join later can be linked to it. It can kind of live longer than just the lifespan of that email.
And if you go through all the trouble of writing an email, you might
For
as well do
real.
something with it.
Yeah, it's so
Right,
true.
but when you put it on the website, if it's a little bit more personal, then it should be expanded when it's on the website.
In the
Like,
card,
universe.
and I want $5.
Well,
I
we
think
all
she's on the phone.
It's ordering lunch.
With my newsletters, I just keep sharing them on social media. I mean, I've just really used them as much as possible.
I recommend taking the content of your newsletter, putting it on your website, share that link instead. Because if you share a newsletter, it's like, here's what's in this newsletter, bye. If
Yeah.
you share a blog post, then people can go, oh, as long as I'm here, I'm going to go look at her about page, look at her services, go check out this other one that's linked, right? Newsletters are like,
That's a good idea.
it's like sharing a PDF, right? It lives in its own world and it's not meant to be an ecosystem of other things. Whereas if you can send someone to a blog post that says the same thing as the newsletter, it's easier to share, it's easier to track, and
Okay.
people are more likely to hang out.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
We are at our 2-hour mark. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Meg. This was fantastic.
It's so much fun.
I will put in, I'm glad. I will put in, well, we will put in all of Meg's contact information. She has an upcoming class as well, SEO October, which I'll send them the email to in the email as well. Don't worry about that. And I'll, for those who ask for WordPress people, I'll send WordPress people. Yeah, so thanks for coming, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thank you all
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I want
Thank
Meg to
you.
move in with me.
Me too.
I can't afford to live in Brooklyn, Erica.
I know.
Bye-bye,
You find me
everyone.
the best house. All
Bye.
right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.